AITA for telling my wife she needs to go to therapy to become the mom our kids deserve. My wife had a crappy childhood. Her mom wasn't great, in and out of prison. She had to raise her little siblings. So with our own kids, I know she overcompensates so our girls can have the childhood she didn't. The issue is, she can't see that our daughters might not want the same things as she did as a kid. She put them in dance and one loves it, the other hates it, but my wife made her do it until COVID hit and the studio closed. When I tried to talk her down, she said that she'd learned to love it. Our oldest, 6, has severe anxiety. She's actually in therapy for it. As a result, she hates crowds. We had her birthday last January and she spent it huddled in a corner and cried through happy birthday, after begging my wife not to make people sing. My wife shrugged it off and said it's part of the experience. This year we can't do a big party for obvious reasons, but my wife wanted to do a thing where everyone drove up to say hi, decorated their cars and sang. Oldest said no. When my wife tried to push, my daughter said she won't leave her room if they come over. My wife was upset and hurt. She told me she wants to give them the childhood she didn't have. I said that's nice, but our girls do have a childhood. They're not raising each other, neither of us are in prison and we're stable. I said that she needs to let them have the childhood they want. That includes activities, toys, our youngest is a tomboy and that's lead to issues, what they wear, etc. She started arguing and I said she does all of this for herself, not them. Clarified she's not her mom, but she's not being a great one by doing this, and told her she needs therapy to be the mom they deserve. Now my wife isn't talking to me. I wonder if I overstepped. AITA? NTA. I'm gently going to say your wife is probably not trying to be callous or hurtful to your children because she's overcompensating for her poor childhood growing up with her own ideas of what happy and normal looks like. But let me be clear, she is being those things in her efforts. She is hurting them by not letting them have choice. I applaud you for recognizing this, and I hope you can persuade her to do therapy or even offer to do it with her to help her not feel further alienated. I hope it all works out. Best of luck, sir. I'm editing to also clarify that overcompensation is not necessarily a good implication. It can have negative overtones in her aggressive willfulness to push her lost and foregone childhood onto her children. NTA. My mom also had a crappy childhood, and resolved to do better. I have PTSD, so clearly she did not. It might be harsh to tell your wife that she's been a bad parent, but she absolutely needs to hear it because this shit will have negative effects on your children. If left unchecked, it can lead to more disastrous outcomes as your kids get older and have more and more autonomy. What will she do if your daughters want to major in something she doesn't like when they go to college? Or want to get jobs to have independence? Or are LGBT? Will she stop them? There are many parents like this who do in fact try to stop their kids from having independence when they grow up. It's a very real possibility. My mother ignored my chronic pain for years because she didn't want to acknowledge that I'm not the perfect healthy child she wanted. I'm 20 and I might need knee surgery, which of course, she doesn't want me to get. I was deeply suicidal from ages 11 to 18 and she ignored it because she couldn't deal with the fact that I wasn't what she expected. Could have died. Of course my experiences are on the more extreme side of the spectrum. But my mother was nowhere near as controlling as your wife when I was 6. So you're right to be worried and you're right to call her out on her awful behavior. Harshness is acceptable in this situation. NTA. A mom was the reason your wife and her siblings didn't have a great childhood, but she seems like she's overbearing, which can be just as negative. You're not overstepping. Those are your kids too and you do have a say in their upbringing. She needs to work through her trauma before her kids get older and want nothing to do with her. NTA. Your wife isn't giving the girls the childhood they need, she's giving them the childhood she didn't have. I can guarantee if she keeps going down this route they won't be remembering their childhood fondly and they will have their own issues with her. You're 100% right that your wife needs therapy, and keep defending your daughters. Your wife should not be forcing your daughters to do things that make them miserable just because she wanted it at that age. NTA. Her overcompensating things, like the birthday party, can be taken as abusive. Your daughter has anxiety and cried. And your wife said it's part of the experience? No, it's not. It's showing your daughter her feelings don't matter. That's more damaging than anything. She needs to listen to her kids, what they want and don't want. And she needs to respect it or they're going to have awful childhoods as well. Therapy is definitely needed here. I had an awful childhood myself, and never wanted to become my mother, but I went to therapy and got a handle on my own emotions and feelings so I could be a better parent to my children. She might be pissed at you for suggesting it, but she needs it. Otherwise, your oldest might start resenting her, and their relationship will get ruined beyond repair. Daughter has anxiety most likely because of Op's wife. The way she treats her children is verging on abusive, while she thinks that this is what children must want. AITA for telling my estranged father that he and his wife can be grandparents to his other kids' future children. My parents divorced when I was 15 because my dad had been cheating on my mom with a co-worker of hers. My younger brother was 13 and my sister was 12. I became estranged from him around that time. My siblings followed suit. My full siblings anyway. I have two half-siblings who are older than me and my other siblings. They were jerks to us because we were angry our dad hurt our mom, etc. And they made it clear if we didn't want our dad they didn't want us. So ever since I consider him my estranged father and not even my dad. I am now married and I have two little boys. I only see my father and his wife once every 3 years or so when there's a paternal family event of some kind. Last year there was a milestone birthday for my grandpa and throughout the day people went to see him. When I was leaving my father showed up and he saw that I had kids. After that he tracked me down on social media and started saying how he and his wife would love to be grandparents and how she was unable to have kids, so no bio grandkids and all that stuff. I replied once and told him that he could ask his other kids if she could be grandma to their future kids because they were not welcome in my life for the life of my kids. He responded several more times but I just ignored him. He then decided to get my great aunt involved and say that my boys deserve to have more loving grandparents if their grandparents are willing, and that I made his wife cry when I wrote what I did and I was insensitive. My reply was she was insensitive to sleep with a married man with 3 children, but apparently that was no big deal. And it goes beyond that. How she treated my mom at work while the affair was happening. She even got fired over it because she was bullying another colleague of my mom's too. It's not the type of family I want around my kiddos. They'll be fine with a loving grandma from me and 2 loving grandpas from their dad. So tell me AITA for what I said. ETA, 2 kids was meant to be 3. It was a typo. Sorry. My father has 5 kids total. 3 with my mom. 2 with a woman before he married my mom. Your estranged father had a chance to stay in your life and he blew it. He also could have tried to reconnect with you later and didn't until he found out, years after the fact, that you had something he wanted, your kids. Sucks to be him. Oh, and the woman who helped destroy your parents' marriage is sad now that she doesn't get to swoop in and play granny. Ha 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 ha, fuck off. TA. Edit. Holy shit, this blew up. Thanks, everybody. NTA. You owe this man nothing, and his audacious demands to play family now don't require a gentle response. You were right to put your foot down fast and hard. I doubt anything less would have gotten through his skull. He chose her. If he doesn't get grandkids through her, oh well. It's not your problem. NTA. I never understand why parents think they raised such a stupid person who will basically say, sure, you ruined my childhood, now you may do the same to my children. Please have them home by 4. I'm fairly certain they just don't think of people other than themselves as actual people. NTA. After that he tracked me down on social media and started saying how he and his wife would love to be grandparents and how she was unable to have kids, so no bio grandkids and all that stuff. He only wants back in your life because his wife cannot have children of her own and they want to scratch the grandparent itch. There is nothing in his request that shows any remorse for what he did and what they put you through as a child. They are both selfish. You're absolutely right to keep your boys away from these toxic people, and I would block anyone who tries to convince you otherwise. Your estranged father and his wife made their bed when they embarked on their affair, now they're going to have to lie in it. AITA for telling my stepsister she can't keep using the death of her mother as an excuse for everything. So I, F18, live with my brother, M19, my mom, her husband, and his daughter, F18. My stepsister's mom passed away during childbirth. From what I've been told, she never had a mother figure in her life. Felt for her, I really did. But around 16, it got really old when she got away with shit because she used the death of her mom as an excuse. My mom remarried when I was 13 BTW. It turned from small things she got away with to larger things. For instance, when we were 14, she completely trashed my room after she lost in a game of Uno. Everything in my room from posters to my bedsheets were ruined. Her dad gave me $10 and said I shouldn't take it to heart because she was upset from not having a mother figure. Another one, my brother got his first car at 17 and she wanted him to take her to see friends, go shopping, just treat him like a personal Uber. He said no, so she scratched it up with a something and it was ruined. Again, my mom and her dad said she's just not in the right mindset because she misses her mom. Today, my brother and I were going to see my dad for his birthday. We made a cake for him and got him a custom blanket with a picture of his dog who passed a few weeks ago. As we're getting ready to go, my stepsister complained to her dad about us getting to leave out during the pandemic, but she's not allowed to see her friends. We told her we were only going to see my dad and coming back and it was just the three of us, not a large group of friends. She got mad and stormed off and we didn't think much of it. It was stupid of me, but I left the blanket downstairs not thinking much about it, and when I went back down, it had bleach on it and the cake was sort of smashed by a ketchup bottle in the fridge. Even though it had a top over it, I already knew it was her and asked WTF was wrong with her. Both my brother and I were upset and it just turned into a screaming match. My mom came down to see what was happening and she started fake crying and said it hurts seeing them get to visit their dad, but I can't visit my mom. I miss her so much, it's not fair. Surprisingly enough, my mom got upset with her, but her dad came in and told us it wasn't a big deal and we could just get a new one. He continued with, she just misses her mom a lot, cut her some slack. I finally lost it and told her she can't keep using the death of her mom because it was not a valid excuse. I kinda got into detail how she was just being a bitch and I was not letting this slide. She stormed off crying, as usual, and her dad wants me to apologize because I'd never understand the pain of losing a parent. I said I wasn't apologizing and my brother stood by my side. Edit. Whoa. Wow. I did not expect this many replies. Firstly, thanks to everyone for the suggestions, especially the petty ones, haha. So, my stepsister doesn't see a therapist because her dad doesn't believe in shrinks. I see a therapist and told him it helped me and it could help her, but he refused. And I'm no professional, so I can't speak about if she's got something wrong mentally. I have had several talks with my mom and her husband about how my stepsister is, especially when they aren't around, and they always say it's no big deal. As a lot of you stated already, my brother has said how could she miss her mom when she didn't even know her, and he was grounded for a month, so I knew better than to say that. I think I will get the authorities involved because I have pictures of the blanket and her admitting to doing it and not caring. I'm gonna give her dad a chance to pay for it, but if he doesn't, I'm going to go about doing that. I'm already sure he's not going to pay for it because it was super expensive. My brother and I initially stayed because there was no issues until yesterday. I think I speak for both of us when I say I've had enough. My dad found out what happened and he got mad at my mom, and now my mom is mad at me for telling my dad, sorta like a chain reaction, haha. I think I've covered all of the questions, but if I didn't, let me know.